Hello everyone, I'm back. This is going to be part 2 of the old school mini bike rebuild. If you don't know about it, go back and watch part 1. So today I'm going to try and configure and mount this new carburetor. It's actually an old style carburetor versus this pump up kind. So we're going to take everything off of there and get that going. So here we go. So like in the last video, this has got this weird carburetor that you pump, and we're going to try and take that off. Hopefully I can get it to work with this. This is kind of like an updraft manifold, intake manifold, so hopefully we can get it to work with that, no problem. So I'm going to start tearing this down, get the camera set up so you can watch that. Alright, so I think I've got all my tools gathered up, so we're not hunting for tools. So first thing I'm going to do is take off this air filter adapter here for the old style big square air filter. Oh man, those are tight. Oh, I got this one coming off. These screws are really soft. I don't want to strip them. So what I might wind up doing is having to get the impact on that one, so I can give it some taps while it's coming off. I think I got it moving. Must have some Loctite on it. Something. Seems pretty crazy that it would be on there that tight. Well, I don't know if I bent it or what, but yeah, I don't know if you can see that in the camera. It looks like it has some yellow thread locker on there. So that's loose. I'm going to take out, there's a 1/4 inch bolt right here. Let me turn the camera up. 1/4 inch little sheet metal screw right there. Zip that off real quick with the impact. Alright, that's out. So the next thing I'm going to do is take off this exhaust that I made years ago to just make some more room here. So it is 3/8. So I don't know what I was thinking when I built that. Let me take this off here. So as you can see how big that hole is and how small of a hole it was going into. So you can see that black soot right there is the size of the hole coming out of the engine block, and then it was getting restricted down into that small hole. So we'll do something and make that a lot better. Get that carburetor pulled off. See if the new one matches up to the flange. Let's see if this gets it. There we go. Man, I love that impact driver. So that screws out. Got our fuel lines off. I'll pick up this nut here. Just going to take the carburetor off. Work that linkage around. So I just took that little linkage off there. So yeah, there's the carburetor. And that's it. So we'll just set that to the side. Now, looks like our gasket's still good. So here's the new carburetor. It's the traditional choke style carburetor. And then there's the butterfly that opens on the back. Well, if you slide it the right way, it comes off no problem. So that was my bad. So tank is off. Let's see about this fuel line. So there's a couple of wires here for the kill switch. I'm gonna stop the video, take a picture of that. That way I'll know which one goes where when I put this thing back together. So as you can see, I just stopped, took a picture of this kill switch here. White wire goes on bottom. I know it sounds pretty simple, but sometimes when you're taking things apart and you move on to other things, it's hard to remember what goes where. So I got those off, the kill switch. What I'm gonna wind up doing is at one time I had a switch wired to this thing. Let me show that to you real quick. So at one time I had the kill switch wired to that toggle switch. That's a really old, cheap AutoZone type toggle switch. Probably get a new one for that and try and, you know, when I do the final assembly, put everything back together, kind of make it look a little bit cleaner. I'll run up to the local parts house and see if I can get a piece of fuel line. So when I started taking this thing apart, of course I bent it more, but I don't know if you can see this right here. There was a little bitty hole in that. This is really, oh, it smells terrible, really gummy and cruddy. So I don't know what I'm gonna do as far as the fuel line. All right, we're running up to the parts store, get some hose, get a couple of small clamps, and when I say we, I mean me and my favorite Chihuahua, Miss Zoe. So we'll see you there. All right, so I'm back from the auto parts store. Got some 5/16 fuel line and a couple of these little small worm gear clamps. I really don't like using these on fuel line, but that was all they had. While off camera, before I went to the auto parts store, let me set this stuff down. Something else that I did was I took the tank and got some carburetor cleaner, sprayed it out real good, shook it around, let it soak a little bit, poured it out, sprayed some more in, shook it around, let it set a little bit. So I've got some fuel stabilizer that I'm probably going to put in there. I'm just going to put a little bit of gas in here. I really want to get some Sunoco, you know, pure gas, not pump gas that has ethanol in it. So I'm just going to do that temporarily. But anyway, so I'm going to start getting this carburetor bolted on, see if we can get this thing going. I've got the seat on it. I don't recommend this technique. I bought this seat a long time ago and it really doesn't, I don't like the way it looks. I think I bought that seat at the same time I bought that motor. It's got screws in it, but they don't line up with the frame tabs, and it's just kind of a generic mini bike seat. But I'm gonna make another one for it, a nice one to fit that bike and not be so bulky looking. But anyway, I'm gonna crank her up. Again, I got the air filter on, and I did crank it just a little while ago, and it cranked up fine. Got air in the tires, checked the oil. Oil still looks brand new. This motor hasn't hardly been run at all. I bought it brand new. I paid a few $100s for that motor, more than a Predator for sure. And like I said, that carburetor was just junk. So anyway, I'm gonna take it for a ride around the neighborhood, and we'll see how it goes. And then the most important thing is, whenever I come back, after I've been riding it a little bit, will it just bust off and restart? That was the problem with the other carburetor. You'd ride it around for a little bit and come back and it wouldn't start. You'd have to wait 2 or 3 hours before you could start it again, or sometimes even the next day. So I don't know if that thing was flooding or what the deal was with it. It was a weird design. But anyway, got it back together. It's drizzling a little bit outside. I don't know if you can see. You can't really see the rain, but you can see that it's drizzling a little bit. I don't care. It's been years since I've ridden this thing, and we're going to give her a heck. So there you have it. Got the carburetor on. I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated, but after some thinking and investigating, it wasn't that big of a deal at all. So I haven't ridden it that much, but the little bit that I've ridden it, and then I stop and pull the rope, and boom, it starts right back up. So that's what I was trying to accomplish with that old style carburetor getting put on there, just making it a little simpler. So there we go. I guess the next video, I need to adjust that carburetor a little bit. There's some springs and different holes you can put the springs in and that kind of thing. You got to really, it doesn't really come on throttle till right the last maybe eighth to a quarter of a turn that you turn it. And it doesn't seem as peppy as I thought it was. I don't know. Maybe it has to do with the adjustment on that throttle. So I'm gonna work that out, but probably the next video will be breaking this thing down, stripping it, seeing about getting it painted, all that kind of stuff. I think I'm just gonna keep these tires. We'll clean the engine up, do all that stuff, get it painted, and get it put back together. And I got to come up with some kind of kickstand idea, something like that. The old kickstand that it was just an up and down, and it had a weird spring on it. It wasn't a very good one. I've got a lot of old bicycle parts and stuff like that. Maybe I can find an old bicycle kickstand that might possibly work. That'll, when it goes up, it'll stay up really nice. So anyway, that's her, and she's running great. Needs a little bit of adjustment, but I'm really excited. I cannot believe with some fresh gas, new hose, and that carburetor that thing just busted off and sat there and idled the first time. That was unreal. I never would have imagined that. I thought I was gonna, even though I'm fairly confident in working on that kind of stuff, I thought I was gonna be having to tweak that carburetor and that kind of thing. So good job on that, whoever made that in China. So anyway, we'll see you next time. Please share, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff that's going to really help me out, bringing new things and encourage me to keep going on this. So anyway, let's do that, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.